Hello, everyone. Let me make sure that all is well. We're grateful. We're glad. To have you with us once again. And welcome back. I'm not going to be too long tonight. I want to jump right in and give you all some things that are quite surprising to us. We've been coming across a few things, and it's quite alarming. But anyway, I'm just going to share a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit of what we have, what we've discovered. While we're uncovering more, we're going to probably be sharing a tiny bit, a little bit at a time with you all, because again, this is about awareness. Let me also add that this video is for informational purposes only. I was saying that with the videos, but I need to clarify for those of you that may not understand. I had gotten a phone call yesterday from a few individuals, and they had some questions. So if you're on today, it's all informational purposes. We don't have any hidden agendas. We don't have any hidden intentions. We are completely transparent. We are 100% straightforward and direct. And as you can see, we're live. So the information that we provide, it's either 100% accurate. And if it's not, you will hear me actually share with you that it's information that has not been confirmed as of yet, or even information that we believe is 100% accurate. If I get information that shares with us that it may not be so accurate, well, we will come back and share that too. And the purpose is so that we can put things to bed as far as false information, wrong information, gossip, rumors, so on and so forth. But at the same token, sometimes we actually confirm information so that it's not being easily dismissed. So with that in mind, let me jump right on into the comments. Golden Boy, hello. Tiffany, peace, thanks for jumping right in. I'm already in bed. Yeah, we're not going to be that long tonight. And I know I've said this quite often, but I'm going to give you the information that we have that I would like to share a little bit, not all of the information. Like I said, we're uncovering a lot. It is mind-blowing. So I just want to touch on something pertaining to a subject that we have not really dived into yet, and that's the General Counsel. Jamal, good evening. Frankie House, peace. Brother Perry, hello, sir. Good having you. So with that in mind, let me dive right in. My first topic that I want to jump into is this. Now, I'm not going to go into this as of yet. Like I said, I'm going to be pretty quick tonight. But I just want you to see these are letters. These are letters, and you can see that these are letters from the leaders. Now, I have a stack. I have a ton of these letters. As you all know, I hold on to a lot of things for my own purposes, most of it for legal purposes. But anyway, you'll see a little bit of that tonight. I'm not going to share with you what's in these letters. I just want you to see that we have what it is that our leaders are now not apparently putting out. Mr. Bailey stopped the pastors from copying letters and giving them to the members. But all of the letters used to be available to the members, and they could get copies and pass them out. Well, I'm going to come back to this, not tonight, but I'm going to come back to these letters, and I'm going to be reading some of them. A few I will touch on out of this book, okay? Epistles of the Modern Day Era Prophets, which is a complete lie. These are not epistles, and these are not true prophets. And I'm going to be showing you that as we go along as well. But on tonight, the reason why I want to talk about the council is so I can convey to you how important these books are. These are constitutions that have been rewritten. We have the 2022, we have the 2023, and we have the 2024. Now, the way that it works is the law does not go by all of them. They only go by the most recent. So we are now utilizing the most recent constitution as far as the law is concerned, and that's the 2024 version. This, I have said, is Mr. Cunningham's masterpiece. This is the one that he worked so very hard to make sure that he put into circulation. This is the one that has most of his handiwork. There's so many things in this book that he has done in order to implement things into law for the members of the organization to follow. But primarily, the things in this book, he tries to protect himself so that even the members cannot do anything in the event that he breaks the laws and get caught. So right now, we know that people around him and inside the General Council as well, there's all kinds of information that we already have, that we've already shared with you. They can't hide it. They're not talking about it. Mr. Cunningham is not touching on it. The paperwork that shows the details about Mr. Murray being a beneficial partner. At any rate, tonight is all about the Constitution by way of the General Council. So this is what I want to show you first. I came across this. This is a calendar, of course. And this is a calendar 2011. And I wanted to show you this because it still has the sticky note on it that identified for the product committee that San Antonio's pastor had to come and pick up a package to take back to San Antonio. Now, I want you all to understand, members of the House of Prayer, I keep saying it over and over and over again, has no idea what's going on at the top. You have no idea what the pastors have to endure and what they go through. So the reason why this is still here, I never took it off, is because this number, 25, that's the number of calendars that I needed to pick up. There was a number of magazines that I needed to pick up. There was a number of Sunday school books that I needed to pick up, and even products that I could put in for. Now, my point in bringing this up is I never asked for this. The pastors do not ask for calendars, Sunday school books, and a lot of the other items that they need to pick up every Memorial Day weekend while they're in Washington, D.C. to take back with them. Now, the reason why the organization has every single pastor make sure after Sunday or anytime over the weekend, but after Sunday services, you need to go and see the product committee so that you can pick up your package to take back with you to have this calendar and the literature to sell, not hand out, not give away, but to sell to the members of your congregation. It is not optional. It was mandatory. Every year that I was there in Washington, I had to pick up another package. Now, the thing is, we were a brand new congregation. I was not about to sell literature, the House of Prayer, to brand new members coming in the door, and many of them non-members. Within 2 to 3 months, they would join and put their name on roll. I still refused to sell literature, the House of Prayer. So here's how it works. The pastors have to pick up their package, their boxes. They take them back. They have to sell them. If they don't sell them, they have to pay for them. There is no, well, I need to return these because we didn't sell it. Nope, it's not allowed. Once you take that literature and whatever else they have in your box, you must pay for it, period. This is one way, another way of developing an income stream in the organization for the bishop and whoever else is involved. Okay, pay attention really quickly. This is another income stream of how money flows in, and it's not optional. Every single pastor, 137 right now, must get a package to take back with them. Now, the organization is going to also save money. How? Because instead of shipping this stuff to the pastors around the organization, instead of shipping it and paying shipping costs, the organization says, no, we're not going to ship anything. We're going to wait for them to come to Washington, D.C., and they're going to take it back with them. Here's a problem. The pastors that flew to Washington, now they have to figure out how they're going to take these packages back. They have to pay money out of their pocket for the travel cost of those boxes that must go back on a plane now. That's an additional fee. Pastors who came on a bus, they got to figure it out. The point of the matter is, you have to pay the dime. The organization doesn't pay jack because they're making you pick it up and take it back with you. There's no questions about it. You cannot turn it down. You cannot refuse. I never bothered to try to turn it down or refuse because I wanted the members to have the information. So I simply paid for it myself. But by the last year, when I realized that the council was lying to the leader, to Mr. Bailey, to set me up 2.5 years straight, they lied and lied and lied until they convinced him of the lies that they were telling him were absolutely true, while I had no idea what was going on, standing on the floor on different occasions in front of the entire organization in LA or in Charlotte, while I was being berated or talked down to or whatever by Mr. Bailey, the bishop. Now, here's the issue. Not only did I find this, and again, if you don't sell them, you have to pay for them. So I had several calendars left over. I had, not because we couldn't sell it, but a lot of our members would also go to Washington. Now, over the weekend in Washington, they're selling the calendars to everybody. They're selling the magazines to everybody. They're selling the Sunday school books to everybody. They're selling the law books to everybody. So now, as a pastor, if your members have gone to DC and they've purchased all this already, well, now you can't sell it to them when they get back because they already have it. And you get stuck with this stuff. It's just further indoctrination. The things in these calendars is quotations coming from excerpts of the bishop's sermons, so-called sermon speeches, and quite frankly, lies. And I'm going to go through some of the calendars for you. But you'll see in here, the bishops are saying that they're the comforter. There's things pertaining to their replacement of the Messiah, our Savior. The thing is, you can't do anything to get rid of these. You have to buy it. So I had it left over. And when I came across it, I said, it's perfect. I'm going to share with you all so that you will know and understand what the pastors have to go through. But here's the thing. While I was in San Antonio, the Spirit led me to begin an attendance sheet. I didn't know why, but I followed the Spirit. And I started taking attendance. So I went through these records, and on the front and back, you have 2 weeks on each side. And every day of the week is on each side. And on Sunday, we have 5 blocks. Okay? 5 blocks. Let me pull this so you can see. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Sunday services. Every week we had sunrise service. Members be there 5:45 a.m. If we had it written that this is what we do in the house of prayer, then that's what we did in San Antonio. Therefore, you see here, we had 5 individuals. Now, this is the week before I went to Charlotte that year. We had 5 individuals that week, sometimes more than that. But we were preparing for Charlotte, so some didn't make it that week, that Sunday morning sunrise service. We had 5 waiting in the parking lot, 5:45. We had sunrise service at 6 o'clock. It looked like we had 11, 12, 13 for Sunday school. We had 14, 15, 16 for 11 o'clock service. We had 12, 13 for 5 o'clock service. And we had another 14 for 7:30 service. So that was the Sunday before I went to Charlotte. The Monday before I went to Charlotte, we have 16 members. The Tuesday, we had 15 members. Wednesday, we had 16 members. Thursday, we had 18 members. Friday, we had 15 members. And here's the account right here. Okay, these are the numbers. Every single night of the week, we would average anywhere from 10 to 18 members every single night, not even established yet. Every single night. Our largest services would have 30-ish people, and that was a pretty regular. But again, I have attendance sheets with the dates on each side. So why am I showing you all this? Because, and it's not just paper, these are checks all the way across on both sides, okay? On every single one of these sheets, so that you all know, as a pastor, I was keeping a record, and these last ones only have one side because the number of members grew. We had up to 52 members. So my point is, I forgot that I had this. And while every single week, every single night, I came back and it dawned on me, wait a minute. This is evidence that the week before I went to Charlotte, what Mr. Bailey said in Charlotte that Monday in council, that I had ran all the people away. We didn't have a congregation. Well, people, nothing had happened to the congregation. I couldn't tell them on the spot that I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're saying right now because everything you're saying, quite frankly, is not true. But I couldn't say that then because it would look like I'm arguing with the Supreme. So I stood there while not knowing what in the world Mr. Bailey is talking about, looking at the counsel on the side, laughing and snickering. I'm getting angry, but I got to keep my composure, because if the people see me getting angry, it's going to look like, sure enough, Elder Lewis has a problem. But I took it. And then I went back. The Spirit led me to go stand in my spot in Charlotte and continue standing there while listening to Mr. Bailey throughout the rest of the day keep talking about San Antonio. Y'all hear what I told him? That goes for you too, pastor after pastor after pastor. While telling everybody in there that we did not have a congregation because I ran everybody out, being too hard with the rules, while the members could have confirmed that none of those things happened at all. And the members could also confirm that Apostle Swearinger, his sister-in-law, Regina Walls, and then the new chairman, Apostle Scott, had set me up by using the secretary and somebody else who they came and confessed to me. I have a letter from one of them writing out the whole thing. My point is this, that when I saw that, I had an inclination at that time. My confirmations were accurate about the council. The council, remember, Mr. Bailey said that he was going to build a cathedral for San Antonio. It would have been the largest house of prayer in the organization. We had started blueprints. I found property so that he could start building. 2 years later, but Mr. Sudler, the district chairman, Dallas, Texas, worked along with Apostle Swearinger, at the time the chairman there in Los Angeles, and then Mr. Scott, who was replacement for Apostle Swearinger with the Los Angeles. He's now in Virginia. They had set me up also to confirm things that Mr. Cunningham, if you recall, looking you dead in your eyes, and I called you a liar. I have nothing to hide. I've been chasing you all over the organization while you telling lies to everybody. I called you a liar in the court in front of everybody in that council, and I called anybody else in there a liar. While not one accusation came up against me, but I had 5 accusations against the council that you, sir, Mr. Cunningham, the governing attorney at the time, did nothing about. You swept it under the rug. Judge Sutton, Mr. Sutton, sat there and did nothing about it. The other judge was Mr. Sutton, Mr. Wynn from South Carolina, Columbia, did nothing about it. Y'all covered it all up. Anyway, I can go down the list of 18 councilmen that was a part of this that I know of. Mr. Commodore, Mr. Lattisall, Mr. Barksdale. Anyway, my point is this. I have nothing but receipts and evidence to back up and support just about every single thing I say. And throughout all of these videos, my story never changed once. Not once. But I brought this and the calendar to show you that this is all about money. There's no concern whatsoever about people's souls. There's no concerns about soul salvation. There's no concerns about giving you the word at all from the bishop on down. It's all about keeping the members that we have in here under control. I have to say, Mr. Bailey in the beginning was not aware of what they were doing and how they were trying to set me up. Mr. Bailey was doing a whole lot of things to push me forward, and I didn't know about it. Mr. Bailey was talking me up to counsel everywhere he went. Mr. Bailey was telling the councilmen that they need to be more like Lewis. How's that young man showing y'all up? How's that man beating y'all in G-class and ties, and he not even established yet? Look at all these people he bringing in every single year. He got another group of people coming in. We were on the verge of getting 2,300 more people coming into San Antonio within the next 2 to 3 months. We had a 27-piece band that was getting ready to come in that had already won 2 Emmy Awards. Elder Bab from New York was going to come there for a month. I was going to put him up to just train and teach the leader. There's a mariachi band, Hispanic, but they play Hispanic music and funk music. They listen to a song, they can play it just like that. 27 pieces, that would have been our shout band. We're on the verge of getting 2 mass choirs, 50 members on the first one, and then anybody that didn't make it and pass through auditions in the first one, they would have been on the second one. 2 marching bands we were getting ready for. My point is this. The council was being told by Apostle Sparinger that if we don't do something, Lewis is going to be the first mega church in this organization. And when Mr. Bailey said he was going to build a cathedral, they already understood he was doing that to prepare for the people that I had coming in. Some of y'all recall that I told Mr. Whitner there in Washington, D.C., either 2010, yes, it was 2010, that I was going to challenge him. We were headhunting. We're coming after Washington, D.C., and I said, if nobody else beat Washington, D.C. in G-class, San Antonio is going to beat them. If not that year, the next upcoming few years, we're going to knock them out, and we would be hosting the announcement weekend in San Antonio, Texas. That night, I now know, well, I knew back then about maybe 8.5 months later, that the entire, well, not the entire, a lot of the general council met downstairs in the Grace Apartment Hotel so that they can begin putting their plans together, how they were going to get me taken out. Amongst that group of people, that's right, Mr. A.D. Cunningham, who even said, you may, I'm sure, recall, even if we got to pool all of our money together while you were the pastor of Greensboro, North Carolina, even if we have to pool all of our money together, you'd pool it together and put into Apostle Whitner's hands just to keep me from beating 6 and M Street in Washington, D.C. I told somebody who was in that meeting, they thought I was joking. Even if they did that, it was not going to be enough. Why? Because there's an old saying about money. There is no money like Texas money. And what I had my eyes on, and what individuals that was there with me in the congregation had their eyes on, we were looking so far ahead of the line, nothing at all would have touched us. Now, my point in saying all that is this. Tonight is all about the general council. If the general council got together to lie to Mr. Bailey for 2.5 years straight, got on the phone, got their lives together and their stories so that when he called to talk to each and every one of them, they would have the same story to tell. He did exactly that. Confirmed, confirmed, confirmed. I know how just about the details went. And now I understand why they did it. I won't go into those details, and neither would I tell what was told to me by Mr. Bailey in that hour-long meeting that he had with me, and he put everybody out of the parsonage and sent his wife, the maids, the guards, and Miss Madison downtown Los Angeles while he met with me in the parsonage, only the 2 of us alone. The other meeting that I had with Mr. Bailey, Mr. Cunningham was sitting there waiting with Mr. Baptist in that little office across the hall in Grace Apartment Hotel from the parsonage for an hour and a half before I arrived in the city. Mr. Bailey was waiting for me to get there. When I arrived, he had Mr. Cunningham take me into the office and show me where to sit. A high back cushioned chair right beside his, while Mr. Cunningham and Mr. Baptist sat in a fold up metal seat against the wall. Again, you were the pastor of Greensboro, North Carolina. Now, all you saw was all these things going on, and he talking about Lewis everywhere he went. The members talking about Lewis throughout the entire organization. We had a woman who came from a satanic church, that one of the young men that we had brought in, who came and joined the House of Prayer out of the Navy, They were friends. She saw him. She eventually followed him to the house of prayer, joined the Bible, not the house of prayer, we didn't have it yet, joined the Bible study in our apartment. She kept trying to do things, spells, but it kept backfiring on her. Eventually, she joined, got serious about the Bible study, left the satanic church. Her testimony busted up 5 satanic churches, and that's where the 2,300 people were coming from. She happened to be the daughter of a high priest of a satanic church. Another young man was talking to people outside the country, and he had a member join who lived in Canada and who was so sincere about what she was learning, she started sending tithes to Portal Drive. I still have some of the money orders from Canada, receipts. My point is this: the council saw how serious we were, just like they saw how serious Brother Perry was out there, Sacramento, and before him, Brother Paul Davis, Elder Paul Davis, also out there in Sacramento, and he was out in San Francisco at the time. They saw young men like that, bringing people, and it made them nervous because they don't bring people. They don't teach the word. There's not a concern about soul salvation. There's not any love. There's not any care. There's not any consideration. There's no kindness. There's no affection. They walk around as if they're greater and bigger than thou, better than thou. Their attitude makes it seem as if they're arrogant. And this is the same report over and over and over and over and over again from non-members that would come in and they would see them. But their behavior was such that it turned the members away. Because after 2.5 years of dealing with these councilmen, I took them to the council after Mr. Bailey started making comments about me as a pastor. I took them to the council so that the council could interrogate them. Just like when you, Mr. Scott, came from California to talk to the members, I wouldn't even sit in the meeting. And I wanted them to be absolutely comfortable talking to you, so I left. I wanted them to talk to you in my absence. And then I told you, you can take them one at a time up the hallway and talk to them one-on-one to make it even that much more comfortable for them, because I already knew the truth. They're not going to tell any lies. And the members told me afterwards the things that they share with you. And it turned them off when they learned that you, Apostle Mr. Swaringer, Mr. Sudler, the council, the judges, Mr. Cunningham included, were lying back and forth to Mr. Bailey. And then he came to San Antonio and he jumped on me some more throughout the sermon, talking about the difference between a good pastor and a bad pastor. And then jumped on me some more at the hotel before he left. And the whole time I'm dumbfounded because I don't know where this stuff is coming from. That upset the members so much, they got sick and tired of seeing the leader talk about the pastor who had done all these things to bring them in. And I'm still in communication with these members. And they still are looking forward for us coming back out to San Antonio. They were itching to report to Mr. Bailey. Some wrote letters to him. I brought them to California. Mr. Bailey never opened them up. He took the stack of letters and gave them to Mr. Cunningham. Mr. Cunningham, you were given instructions by Mr. Bailey to call the entire council back into that court and get to the bottom of whatever's going on in San Antonio. And he sent me with you and Mr. Baptist. Y'all did not do that. Y'all did not follow his instructions. And then I now know that y'all lied to him when you got back because I wasn't there to hear your report. But he did write me a letter. And you don't know the contents of that letter. My point is, I know that you all are nothing more than liars, manipulators. You're lower than, Father, forgive me. There is no concern from these men towards the people. Their only concern is power and status and trying to get ahead of one another. That is all it is. They will set each other up. And the only reason why the bulk of them are still there is because they have dirt on each other. And if any of them try to bring one of the others forward, they will threaten to let the whole thing out of the bag. Now, here's my point. We're now at a point where we're about to go to another General Assembly. And this is the one thing that Mr. Cunningham and the rest of the Klan are afraid of. They're terrified that the members of the organization is going to come in there and do what they need to do for the very first time in the history of this organization to take their power back from their hands. Since now they're learning about the law and what the General Assembly is all about. I'm going to read a few things now as I get ready to stop and close out. So again, that y'all can see how the council works with the General Assembly secretaries, with the bishops, to deceive you all, to lie to you all, to manipulate you all, and to fool you all while they're doing all kinds of things outside the house of prayer, with governmental bodies, and with paperwork to take advantage of every single one of us in here. And I found that out for myself when they lied to him to get him to believe that the property that I'd found that he was ready to purchase to build the cathedral, they lied and told him that the property had been sold and said, we got to look some more. Then they got busy to turn him against me so that he would stop even thinking about building a cathedral in the house of prayer because of their jealousy that that would have been the largest house of prayer in the history of the organization, and Elder Lewis would have been the pastor. Now, I'm going to stop talking about that. I don't want to go but so far into that story while I begin talking about the letters. My learning about the council has been a journey. But it's been a journey because these men work under the radar, and they've lied and deceived and crooked their way. They've lied, deceived, and crooked their way all the way to the top of the surface of the soil. Because these men have been working like slimy little worms around the people in the organization, waddling in the dirt and the dust and the muck and the miry clay and the filth that is all around them from the behavior and the activity that they're involved in, while doing everything they can to protect one another from being brought forward in front of the people, while simultaneously sitting in front of the people as if they're holy and righteous, so that they can judge other people who come onto that floor. I'm going to now allow you all to hear and see for yourselves, not making this stuff up. I'm going to read from the bishops. And then I'm going to show you documentation of some of the handiwork of the General Council of the United House of Prayer for All People, of which, by the way, Mr. Cunningham worked with these men for the last 30 some years while doing all kinds of dirt behind the scenes. Mr. Bailey worked with these men for a while as well, while also doing dirt behind the scenes. Here's the thing. I'm now reading out of this book, and I say all the time, there's a lot of things that y'all not going to want to hear, but you need to hear it to prepare you for what's coming, because all this stuff needs to stop. And the longer these men are in these positions, the more harm they're going to bring to the members of the organization, the more harm they're going to bring to the communities where the houses of prayers are established in, the more harm they're going to bring to residents in these apartment buildings and condominiums and houses that's been built, and the more harm they're going to bring to anybody who's around them that trusts them. These men take your trusts and stab you completely in the back while doing everything they can to work for other people who's over them because they have dirt on them. And let me now let you see what I'm talking about. This is a letter from Mr. Madison, September 8th, 2005. It says, many of you are calling my office because of your love and concern for the people who were affected by the disaster in Louisiana and Mississippi. I have not neglected to give immediate financial assistance to the House of Prayer members whom I could locate. Now, I'm just going to tell you, I don't believe none of this. I'm going to tell you why in a little bit. I've sent funds from the organization and from my own personal funds. Every year, I send a donation to the Red Cross, who assists people all over the world. Now, before I continue, the reason why I don't believe any of this is because the leaders don't do for their own. They don't do for the members of the organization. And even during natural disasters and his tenure, people went without. Nothing was done from an organizational standpoint to assist the members collectively in need. But watch how this letter continues to unfold. Now, it was said that he sends money to the Red Cross out of the House of Prayer funds and personal funds. But why would you send to the Red Cross if there's members all over the organization who need help and they weren't getting a dime? There was nothing set up for the people. Nothing. Let's continue. We gave thanks unto God that all the members of the House of Prayer are safe. They've been located and are doing well. Some are still displaced and do not have an address where funds can be sent, and some are in locations where there's no postal delivery. However, as soon as funds can be forwarded to these individuals, my office has been instructed to do so. The problem with all of this is there's never any evidence. There's never any book work. There's never anything to allow the members to see that these things are true. How much money was sent out? Where was it sent? Who was it sent to? Those things are never shown to anybody, quite frankly, because it's been proven that a lot of the statements that come from the headquarters about things being done are not done at all. Look at what's next. Here comes the General Counsel. The General Counsel has set up a committee to assist in locating the members of New Orleans and are promoting a disaster relief fund throughout the houses of prayer. I didn't hear about that fund. I heard nothing about that fund. They are promoting a disaster relief fund throughout the houses of prayers. Now, if there was a fund, my question is, how much money went into it? Where did that money go? And where's the evidence that the money had been sent out? The money had been sent to anybody. Now, my reason for reading this is to show that the General Counsel setting up a committee to assist in locating the members of New Orleans and promoting a disaster relief fund. That's the job of a board of directors. The next few things that I'm going to show you is how the bishops have been using the General Counsel to do work that should be getting done by the General Assembly. Remember, the General Assembly act as a board of directors. Any nonprofit that has a General Assembly, then the General Assembly are supposed to be doing what a board of directors do. That means the CEO and the officers within that nonprofit are supposed to answer to the General Assembly. They're supposed to report to the General Assembly. They're not supposed to have their hands in, nor are they supposed to touch any money whatsoever, unless it has been voted on and approved by, and then dispersed into a fund for them to use by a committee that's been set up by the General Assembly. The council, nowhere in any book whatsoever, has any authority to be doing what they're doing in our organization. Just because the CEO gives them rights, and the authority to do what they're doing doesn't make it right, because nobody in the General Assembly officially, truthfully, transparently gave the CEO the authority to do what he's doing. The CEO has taken authority by amending these constitutions behind the backs of the members and nobody knowing what's going on since the beginning. Every single bishop has had a hand in rewriting our constitutions without the members' involvement, without the members' approval, without the members' consent. And we've been thinking this whole time that we've been a part of the amendment making process, while now the evidence is fully supporting the fact that we've never been a part of the process. And now the facts are showing inside the constitutions themselves that the members have been completely fooled. Now, I'm going to continue reading, but pay attention to how the General Assembly is supposed to be doing what the General Council is doing. The General Council has set up a committee to assist in locating the members of New Orleans and are promoting a disaster relief fund throughout the houses of prayers. Members had nothing to do with that. That makes this act illegal. Who's at fault? The General Council, the General Assembly Secretary and his assistant, and the leaders, the bishops, for doing things outside of the confinement of the boundaries of the regulatory agencies that regulate 501c3s. They've been skirting around the law, even lying to outside agencies to include governmental bodies. And I've already shown you documentation to verify that as well. It continues, if you have individuals, family members, or friends who you would like to send funds to directly, you may do so. Funds that are collected through the houses of prayer will be placed in the National Fund under my supervision and will be dispersed upon my authority. What I see is saying a whole lot of stuff about I did this, I did that, I helped people here, and I even took out of my own pocket and I sent people that are members of the House of Prayer money to help them. If y'all would like to do the same, feel free to send it to the headquarters. We will handle that money. I'll supervise it and make sure it goes out to the people. Members, I'm telling you all, these are scams. All the money that the organization has should not require for the bishop to tell the members to send us more. Send us $5, $50, $100. If there's somebody you want to send it to us and we'll see to it that they get it. Wait a minute. If there's somebody I want to send money to, why do I need to send it to you so that you can send it to them for me? It's another scam. And the council was a part of it. Watch how this unfolds. I will be and will be dispersed upon my authority. These funds should be sent directly to the House of Prayer's national account. Individuals may also send funds directly to this account. The mailing address for the national account is, and they give it, please make the check payable to the United House of Prayer, and the memo portion of the check should read, Disaster Relief Fund. The deadline for raising these funds will be October 9th, 2005, which is the end of convocation. Makes no sense. Let me continue reading. The General Council is the only group of men that is in the supreme bylaws for the protection of the bishop and works of the House of Prayer. Remember, I showed y'all in the supreme bylaws, the first responsibility of the General Council is to protect the bishop and the works of the organization, meaning the money. The General Counsel's job is not to do anything whatsoever to benefit the people. The General Counsel's job is not to do anything at all on behalf of the people. The General Counsel's job is not to help or assist whatsoever the people. And when I get back to the law this week, we have 4 weeks left. When I get back to the law this week, I'm going to show you how the General Counsel has been working to create income streams in the lower court and in the higher court of the House of Prayer by raising money through fining elders, pastors, and even in some occasions, the members of the House of Prayer. Nobody knows how that money is being deposited. No one knows how that money is flowing. There's no report going to the members, what's happening to that money, where it goes, how it's being dispersed, what is being allocated to. No one knows anything because there's no report being given to the General Assembly. The bishops using the General Council because they're in on the con. We're going to show you. It goes on to say, the General Council is the only group of men that's in the supreme laws for the protection of the bishop and the works of the House of Prayer. Because of their love and devotion to the House of Prayer and the bishops, other groups were formed to protect the bishop and property of the House of Prayer. I've been pleased with their service. This goes into the security groups, but watch where this takes a turn. There are two groups which I will allow to continue to function. Just as the House of Prayer has one leader, there will be one leader of the security groups. The General Council, here we go again, appointed a leader to be over all non-uniformed men. Why? The General Council doesn't have the authority to do none of this. Why are they setting up a committee in order to promote a relief fund? Why is the General Council setting up a committee in order to receive anything pertaining to anything? Now, yes, the directions and instructions were to send money somewhere, but the General Council is promoting it. Why are they promoting it? Because they are the pastors of the organization. They are the chairmen of the organization. Their job is to push the members to give. Now we see them appointing a leader over security groups of the organization. Where do they get this authority? They're acting as a board of directors or General Assembly. without telling the people that this is what they're doing to work for and on behalf of the bishops. Now y'all beginning to see how this stuff works. And I'm sure there's a flow of money going to certain ones on this council. It's all about the money. Watch carefully. It goes on to say, the general council appointed a leader to be over all non-uniformed men. I will sustain this appointment. The bishop is saying, I'm going to approve of what they just did. Where did they get the authority? They didn't ask for the people. The members of the General Assembly didn't vote on this. Members of the General Assembly never discussed this. Goes on to say, watch carefully. Now, the General Council appointed this person. This person, he is one of my elders who I trust will work with the group peacefully. Just as there are several congregations in a state with one chairman, the groups will be a separate congregation under one chairman. Well, who gave the CEO the authority to make that decision? Even that's supposed to be voted on by the General Assembly. And the General Assembly is supposed to approve of these things, changes, new programs, new groups, all of these things. So what we're seeing is the CEO now acting as if he's the president of the board and the general counsel are his board members to give approval. Now, you can't easily see it here, but by the time I get done, I'm going to finish reading this and I'm going to show you some paperwork, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. He goes on to say, this person will work with the groups peacefully, I hope. Just as there are several congregations in a state with one chairman, the groups will be a separate congregation under one chairman. Consequently, one has worked faithfully and been devoted to me, Daddy McCullough, and the organization. He is in the top 100, as if that's a qualification. He is in the top 100 and the top G-class worker among the guards. Why is that an issue? The leader of the security groups, a top 100 worker, top financial giver in the security guards. That shouldn't have anything to do with nothing. He is to continue to serve as the head of his group and as the assistant to the leader of the non-uniform men and women. They will be over all of the non-uniform men and women from the north, south, east, and west. The one leader, north, south, east, and west. One leader will continue to be over his group or assign an assistant within his group. All of the members of both groups must work together in peace and harmony. Now look at this carefully. I will need pictures of all of the peace officers, one for my office and one for the General Council Committee. Here we go again. This is another committee being formed and set up and appointed by the General Council. Y'all beginning to see the trend? Pastors must know all members of the military units and guards who are members of their congregation. If any of the guards or military members get out of line, the pastor will make the report to the officers in charge and Apostle Bailey, the head judge of the General Council. Okay? All these things revolving around, within, and through the General Counsel. I'm telling you, people, these are things that the General Assembly is supposed to be doing, not the General Counsel. They're working like a board. Watch carefully. The head judge of the General Counsel, Pastor Bailey, got to report to him now. I have trust in him, Apostle Bailey, and believe that he will deal with the case fairly without showing partiality. Without going any further, we know for a fact that quite a few things Mr. Bailey did, he showed a whole lot of partiality, a lot of it. Unfortunately, we were not in a position to do anything about it. Now, as I get ready to close this out, I need you all to pay very, very close attention. Okay. I have some documents here. This is all one transaction until I show you the last three forms. It's all one transaction. I've scribbled out parts of the paperwork. The parts that I've scribbled out has information that would give away what the paperwork is. I don't want anybody to know what the paperwork is yet. Now, this is just one document, several pages long, but it's one document amongst several documents that reveal similar situations and information so that we can see a consistent pattern of different things that's been done around the organization by and utilizing the General Counsel. So I don't want anyone to be able to track this document yet for obvious reasons, right? And instead of allowing that to happen, that's why, again, I've scribbled some things out. We're going to be showing some more things as we go along. But here, let me let you see the first one. One second, let me dim this light. Okay. Now, I'm going to pause here for a moment. And I know it's a little blurry, but I'm going to read it to you. I just want you to see I'm not making anything up. Okay. Now, what this says is current address, 1665 North Portal Drive, Northwest, Washington, D.C. Confirmatory deed, notice of successor trustee, and correction of name of beneficiary. correction of name of beneficiary. Okay, now some of you all have heard the term beneficiary in a sense when you heard beneficial owner. So, like Mr. Murray being a beneficial owner alongside of Mr. Cunningham of the entire organization, this piece of paper, this document shows a transaction that was made in order to change the name of the beneficiary of the organization. It says this confirmatory deed, notice of successor trustee, and correction of name of beneficiary. This deed is made by Bishop S.C. Madison in his capacities as sole trustee and chief executive officer of the United House of Prayer for all people of the Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith, aka also known as House of Prayer, a nonprofit corporation organized and existing under the laws of the District of Columbia. It says House of Prayer is a common name by which the church has been known. The church is a nonprofit corporation formed for religious purposes under the laws of the District of Columbia and is incorporated under the name, the United House of Prayer for all people of the Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith. In 1929, Bishop C.M. Grace, founder and first bishop of the church, Bishop Grace, adopted the Constitution and bylaws of the church, which, as amended from time to time, continue to govern the affairs of the church. This document is prepared by, and after recording, please send to Carol Guy Jackson, Esquire. Gives the address. Now, I need you all to understand that this is the utilization of, first and foremost, the Constitution of the House of Prayer. This is how the Constitution is being used, and the members have no idea. So when we look at this jacked up booklet full of information that the members don't know hardly anything about, that the members don't know that Mr. Cunningham has completely jammed it full of laws now considered to be laws, even though once it's proven that he has done what he's done, this whole thing just about will be thrown away. And then the one before it, and the one before it, and the one before it, until we get back to the original, so that we can see what laws were actually done the proper way and the legal way to be amended. But once that's shown, this will be thrown out. The problem is right now, this is what they have downtown. This is what the governmental bodies are looking at, and this is what they're enforcing. And the dear sweet members of the House of Prayer has no clue that this book is taking advantage of everybody in here. Let me show you. When you look at this paperwork and these documents, this is all they have downtown. If this is the confirmatory deed, then downtown is going to go with this. Downtown is not talking to the members of the organization. Downtown is not going to send somebody to verify, confirm that the members agree with this act. Once records and documents are being filed, that's what they're going to go with. Now watch how this works. Here. I'm going to pause for a moment and then I'm going to read it. I know it's a bit blurred, so that you can freeze it. And what it says is, now therefore, this deed witnesseth that simple title to the property is in accordance with the Constitution and bylaws of the church, in accordance with the Constitution and bylaws of the church, now vested in Bishop S.E. Madison as sole trustee and chief executive officer of the church, and to the extent necessary to accomplish such vesting, and by the powers vested in him by the Constitution and bylaws, Bishop S.E. Madison, as the successor to Bishop Walter McCullough, as sole trustee and chief executive officer of the church, does hereby grant simple title to the property to Bishop S.E. Madison and his successor trustees. I need you all to look at this. And to his successor trustees. I'm just turning the light back down. Bishop S.E. Madison, see the bottom line? And to his successor trustees. Now, if you can't read it, that's okay. Go back and pause it later so you can. Now, again, I'm going to read it so that you understand what this is actually saying. And I'm going to stop sharing until I get to the last 2 pages so that this doesn't take up too much more time. Now, it says, Bishop F.C. Madison and his successor trustees, as trustee for the United House of Prayer for all people of the Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith, a nonprofit corporation organized and existing under the laws of the District of Columbia, at such time as Bishop Madison ceases to be trustee for the church, title to the property shall vest in such successor trustees as are duly appointed or elected pursuant to the Constitution and bylaws without further action or recordation of any further instrument. All this is saying is they don't need any more documents. They don't need any more paperwork. They don't need any more evidence to support the fact that he has the authority to do anything and everything he wants. If I'm wrong, someone correct me. That's what this says. I'm going to show you why the law downtown will recognize what I just said. Right here. And you see, one second. Wait a minute, still too bright. You see the word attest? Apostle R. Price, what does that say? Assistant Secretary of the General Assembly. Keep watching. Signed, Bishop S.C. Madison, Trustee and Chief Executive Officer, the United House of Prayer for all people of the Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith, a nonprofit corporation organized and existing under the laws of the District of Columbia. Watch carefully. This says, so far that the witness is the Assistant General Assembly Secretary. So I'm showing you how the General Assembly Secretary and the General Assembly Assistant Secretary works with the bishops and the General Council. Watch carefully. Now, there's a term at the bottom of this page. Let me see if this is too bright. Okay, it is. Look at the term at the bottom of the page. Attachments. What does this say? General Council resolution. So there's another form on here that the General Council actually signed in concurrence to also agree as a witness to this act where all the property is being turned over to the bishop to do anything and everything he wants. And a part of this form is also going to show quotes coming from the Constitution of the House of Prayer. Here we go. Going to the next page. Let me let you see it. I'm going to pause. I know it may be a little bit blurry. Now I'm going to read it. The undersigned, a notary public, in and for the aforesaid jurisdiction, does hereby certify that this instrument was acknowledged before me on this blank day of blank, 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 by Bishop S.E. Madison, a sole trustee and chief executive officer for the United House of Prayer for all people of the Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith, who is personally known to me and who, by authority duly given, acknowledge the same to be his act and deed in the stated capacities as sole trustee and chief executive officer and trustee of the United House of Prayer for all people of the Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith. And we have signed here is the notary. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the next page. Okay, here you're going to see another surprise. And I'm going to read it. The undersigned, a notary public in and for the aforesaid jurisdiction, does hereby certify that this instrument was acknowledged before me on this blank, blank, blank by Apostle R. Price, Assistant Secretary of the General Assembly of the United House of Prayer for all people of the Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith, and who is personally known to me and who acknowledged that he executed the foregoing instrument, signed and sealed before me on this date, the notary public. Now, again, let you see it. Okay. Now, this shows the General Assembly Assistant Secretary signing documents that's going to be filed for the government to reflect on the fact that the bishop has all control to do anything and everything that he wants with any of the properties. Now, watch how this takes a turn. Okay. This is going to be a bit much, so I'm going to let you see a little bit. And I want you to see the list. It goes up. Now, there's 3 pages of this. And on the pages, there's different names. Now, the names are various names that's used within paperwork that the members don't know about. Various names that's used within paperwork that the members don't know about. But this is a list of different trustees. Okay, I'm gonna read them. Now pay attention to how many trustees we're talking about of the house of prayer that the members know nothing about. Bishop C.M. Grace, trustee for the house of prayer. Bishop C.M. Grace, Andy Houston, Henry Little, Randolph Greer, trustees of the house of prayer of Huntersville, North Carolina. Bishop C.M. Grace, trustee of the house of prayer. C.M. Grace, presiding bishop and president. I'm going to let y'all see that. Too bright. Bishop C.M. Grace, presiding bishop and president. Why do you see president? Because the members didn't know that the bishops have been operating a board of directors behind the members' back, while giving us the impression that we, the General Assembly, are governing the organization. But once again, the members don't understand how a General Assembly is supposed to operate. So they've been running loops and tracks and rings all around the members of the entire organization for all of these years. Let me show you how the General Assembly is a part of this after I read the trustees list. Okay. C.M. Grace, presiding bishop and president. Arthur Walker, W.S. Leeper, Thomas Foggy, Edward Beatty, Emily Jones, Robert Hoseley, and Louis Burton, trustees of the Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith of the South. Philip Tillman, Sam Bowman, Sam Jeter, Walter Mills, and Moses Nair, trustees of the House of Prayer, a holiness church. These are all things that is listed on paperwork talking about our organization. Bishop Walter McCullough, trustee for the United House of Prayer for All People of the Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith. United House of Prayer for All People of the Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith by and through its bishop, S.C. Madison, trustee. Bishop C.M. Grace, trustee for House of Prayer Church. Luther Reynolds, Henry Peggs, James Young, trustees for North Charlotte Mission House of Prayer for All People. Maggie Curtin, James Jennings, Louise Davidson, Alice Morgan, Cora Johnson as Third Ward, trustees for Third Ward Mission, number 10 of Charlotte, North Carolina. We're not done. Bishop W. McCullough, trustee of the United House of Prayer for All People, Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith, and his successors in office, Guilford County, North Carolina. Bishop C.M. Grace, trustee for House of Prayer. C.M. Grace, trustee, House of Prayer for All People, their successors, heirs, and assigns. C.M. Grace, as trustee for the House of Prayer for All People. C.M. Grace, trustee for the House of Prayer. Nathaniel Cloud, Curtis Cody, trustees for the House of Prayer for All People. Bishop McCullough, founder. Now, I want you to pay attention to this first line. And I'm going to stop here. One second. Now, says the House of Prayer for All People. Bishop W. McCullough, founder. That one I stopped at because I wondered, why did this same Bishop W. McCullough, founder, and why does it list that he's the founder of the House of Prayer for All People? That's the name, the House of Prayer for All People, not the United House of Prayer for All People Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith. Just the founder of the House of Prayer for All People. This list continues, and there's a grip more trustees that the organization know nothing about. I'm going to go ahead and get to the page, and there's a whole nother page with another long list of trustees. But I want to get to the page now concerning the General Counsel. For a moment, and I'm going to read it. Whereas the United House of Prayer desires to title property in a manner which is consistent with the provisions of the Constitution and bylaws, and in a manner which will alleviate the need to retitle property upon the election of a successor bishop, and whereas the General Council of the United House of Prayer concurs with such retitling. The General Council of the United House of Prayer concurs with such retitling. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that the General Council of the United House of Prayer concurs with the titling of United House of Prayer property located in blank the following manner. Bishop S.E. Madison and his successor trustees, as trustee for the United House of Prayer for All People of the Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith, a nonprofit corporation organized and existing under the laws of the District of Columbia, right here, look at what it says. Adopted by the General Council of the United House of Prayer, sitting, that means they met, had a meeting in Washington, D.C. Apostle R. Price, clerk of the General Council. Now, mind you, Apostle Price, the clerk of the General Council, also signed the same document as the assistant General Assembly Secretary. So when I told you all that Mr. Cunningham should not have been senior minister, General Assembly Secretary, a council member, and the head judge on the council, 4 different positions, 4 different seats, 4 different titles of 4 different people that's supposed to be sitting in each one, because it is a conflict of interest. That's what is necessary, because the general counsel, the head judge, the General Assembly Secretary, and the senior minister, all these positions are working hand in hand with the bishop to keep the members of the organization blinded from the business that they're doing in paperwork with the governmental bodies by filing documents and records to take control of everything in the house of prayer, and the members are none the wiser. The general counsel is a part of it. The General Assembly Secretary and his assistant is a part of it. Let me show you more. This is, look at what it says at the top. A resolution of the General Council of the United House of Prayer for All People of the Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith. This is an entire legal document where the General Council shows agreement with this paperwork that gives the authority to the bishop to do anything and everything that he feels like without having to have approval from the members. And look at what it says. Right here, property purchased by any member. Now, I know it's blurry, but I want you to see that these are quotes directly out of the Constitution. It says, property purchased by any minister or other persons belonging to this organization for the purpose of assembly of a congregation of this organization shall belong to this organization, irrespective of whose name title thereto is taken. Whereas Article 7, Section 5 of the Constitution and bylaws, here, let me let you see. Article 7, Section 5 of the Constitution and bylaws, you need to understand that they're using the Constitution and directly pulling out quotes to file on government documents and records to give the bishop the power and the authority to do anything and everything he feels like without asking the members' approval, without seeking the members' approval, without the General Assembly coming to meet about it, without the General Assembly having any opportunities to have transparency, to hold these men accountable, or to have a report given to them on whatever they're doing. The fact of the matter is, the CEO is not even supposed to be touching a dime without the approval of the General Assembly. And when they do approve, they tell him how much to spend, not the other way around, where the CEO can do anything and everything he feels like without telling anybody. Let me continue. The General Counsel allowed this to be here, that they agreed to, a quote directly out of the Constitution. The bishop shall hold the property of the several congregations of the organization as trustee for the use and benefit of such congregations. However, the bishop may rent, lease, dispose of, or retain such property for the use and benefit of the organization. All that is saying is he can do whatever he feels like anytime he wants and don't need to ask or talk to nobody about it. Now, the problem here is, it says in the Constitution he can do these things for the use and benefit of the organization. But what we've been seeing is that the operations and the transactions that he's carrying out is not for the use and the benefit of the organization. And this has been going back for many, many decades. where the people are at a loss for words because they don't know what's going on. They don't know how the money is being spent. They don't know what money is there. They don't know what decisions are being made. They have no input in making those decisions. The whole thing that the bishop, the General Assembly secretary, the assistant secretary, their staff, and the general counsel, and that's not all. We're not done. They have also been working along, and we have a whole nother list of trustees. Let me move over. Okay. They've been working along with here. And this is what really blew my mind. Let me blow this up. You see here, Bishop S.C. Madison, trustee, sole trustee and chief executive officer. Now, in some of these forms, you'll see president. Some of these forms, you'll see other things. But look, by Apostle E. Thompson, look at the title, Assistant Secretary of the General Assembly. Okay. And this one really blew my mind. Let it focus. Brenda Hall, Notary Public. I really did not know that she was a notary. So apparently, the bishops are not only using the General Assembly Secretary, they're not only using the General Assembly Assistant Secretary, they're not only using their staff, they're not only using the General Counsel, the General Counsel Clerk, the General Counsel judges, but they're also using the staff at headquarters. We have documents where Bonnie Malloy signed. We have documents now with Brenda Hall. We have documents with Carolyn Guy Jackson. Documents with Mickey Bailey. Documents with Elliot Thompson. We have documents with Robert Price. These are staff members around Portal Drive. Documents with Adam McGahee. I can go on and on and on. What is the point that I'm making? Here's one more point. This is a form. I'm not going to show the whole form. I'm going to show a part of it. I say quite often, I can't stand having an iPhone. 1 second. Okay. Where are we at? Right here. I'm going to let you see one part of this form. Okay. So that you can see that this is public record. It's public record. You see the timestamp. You see the state seal? This is public record. Now, the last time I showed this document, there was a video that was removed with all of the other forms on that video, just because somebody reported that there was an address that was shown on this document. Well, YouTube was not aware, no fault of their own, that the address that was shown was on public record. So when we showed it, it looked like that I was sharing private information. So that's the reason why they took the video down. I couldn't prove, because I did not understand the route that I needed to go, that it was not private information, it's public record. This is the actual record that I showed that somebody wanted to report to have it taken down. Listen, no matter what you all do to try to stop what we're doing, it's not going to work. The members, they see, they understand. You've been lying to everybody in here. Mr. Cunningham, your staff, the general counsel, no matter what y'all try to do, the members now know that you all are corrupt. You've been deceiving everybody, manipulating all the laws, lying to everybody. And listen, nothing's going to work that you try. Anyway, the point is this, that this was the form, and what the people didn't like about this form, I'm sure, who had it reported, is the fact that I showed this. I'm going to let it adjust. And look at what it says. The officers, President Bishop Walter McCullough, Vice President Dolores Madison. So at the time, we're talking about the House of Prayer actually has a board of directors, and Dolores Madison is the vice president of the board. Mr. McCullough is the president. The secretary is, wait a minute, Dolores Madison? How do we have a board of directors with one person serving in two positions on the board of directors? Is this legitimate, you all? No, not at all. This is illegal. Look at the treasurer, Bishop W. McCullough. And I'm going to add, it is my opinion that this is illegal. However, let me show you the other side. And I don't want, one second, let me, there's an individual who's on here that I don't want you all to see, because I respect this person too much. And I'm more than sure that they had used this person without their understanding that they were being used. And they're no longer with us for me to call and talk to them. No, I think they are. I can call one of their relatives. Anyway, but this is what I want you to see. Here. Wait for it to adjust. Corporation division. Directors. Bishop McCullough shows his name. Dolores Madison shows her name. And there was one more person here because they have to have at least 3 people. And so we see signed here, Bishop McCullough. And one more form before I'm done. here. Just so that you all will not forget, the bishop, president, and assistant secretary. Now, who would the president and the assistant secretary be? Well, right here, let it adjust. Bishop McCullough, president, and the assistant secretary, Dolores Beale. This was her name before getting married, and their signatures. Now, what is this all about? My point is this. This right here is Mr. Cunningham's masterpiece. This has got some jacked up things in it that the members of the organization do not understand. And he's been using these constitutions for the last now 18 years, while he's been manipulating them and writing things in them, knowing that he had been selected by Miss Madison to be the next bishop following Mr. Bailey. There is no response to the things that I'm saying because he knows that I can prove it, and he knows that he cannot deny it. The things in this Constitution is the absolute worst for the United House of Prayer for All People as an organization, because he's got all kinds of protections in here by the General Assembly Secretary, the Assistant Secretary, the Senior Minister, and the General Counsel to do nothing but protect him in this position, even though he's caught red-handed doing all kinds of wrong. Now, without this book, the scripture tells us that a bishop is to be blameless. That's the qualifications of a bishop. But Mr. Cunningham is not blameless. There's a whole lot of blame right out in the open that can be laying at the feet of Mr. Cunningham. And therefore, we've been doing everything that we can to utilize the rules of the organization to try to bring these matters forward while Mr. Cunningham duck and dodge, and with the assistance of the General Assembly Secretary, Mr. Jimmy Jones, with his help involved in the manipulating of these constitutional laws, with Mickey Bailey's assistance in manipulating these constitutional laws, with the General Counsel's assistance in manipulating these constitutional laws, with Mr. Elliott's assistance, with anybody else, the clerks, the judges, the governing attorneys, all of the General Counsel members, all of the chairmen, every single pastor that sits in that General Assembly year in and year out and sits there with their mouth shut and don't say a single word, are manipulating the members of this entire organization. People, they're taking things out of this book and putting it inside of governmental documents and records so that the government can look at these documents, view these documents, and give authority to the CEO to do anything and everything he feels like without the members knowing anything, which is how they've gotten away with not having to say anything to anybody, without having to show any records, without having to show any books, without having to tell a thing about the money being raised, the money being spent, or without having to answer to the people at all whatsoever. In a few weeks, the members will, for the first time, have the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding of how to utilize Robert's Rules of Order, according to parliamentary procedure, to walk inside of that General Assembly and completely flip the script on this general counsel who's working in secret behind the backs of the members of the organization and the General Assembly and secretary and his staff and the CEO and his staff. The CEO is nothing more than a hired employee. He was hired by the people, supposedly, according to the Constitution, he was hired. But the reality is, he used the Constitution to put himself in the seat, and the General Assembly General Counsel assisted him. My point in all of this, the members do not have to go there asking them anything. They've had now 3 years to answer questions. And Mr. Cunningham has ran from me, along with the council running from me, and not talking to anyone, not responding to any of these videos, not saying a word about the documents or the files that have been recorded with Mr. Murray's name all over the organization, with Mr. Elliott at Portal Drive, Brenda Hall notarizing the documents, Bonnie Malloy signing documents, Carol Jackson, Mickey Bailey signing documents, filing documents, the general counsel assisting by concurring, giving their witness and testimony legally on filed documents, showing that they are the governing body within the organization, which also is illegal because they're not. All of this illegal activity, according to my opinion, which is to be verified by the outside regulating agencies if they choose to come in sooner or later. But all of these records, it show and should confirm for anybody looking at it that my opinions are accurate. And I have to say my opinions because I'm not qualified to give a conclusion on all of this information. That responsibility lies with the regulating agencies. That's why I say it's an opinion. With that in mind, members, we have the opportunity to walk inside in the General Assembly and put votes on the floor for everybody to simply vote. That's how easy this is. That's how simple this is. Mr. Cunningham, with this general counsel, is doing everything in their sneaky backroom ordeal tactics to do everything they can to make the people scared, intimidated, and afraid when they walk in that General Assembly. We're going to make sure that you have all the tools necessary to walk in there as a boss, knowing that when you walk in there, they're supposed to be standing in front of you like they're there for a job interview. That's the law. They are supposed to be serving the people, and they're supposed to be reporting to the people. They're supposed to be answering to the people, and they're supposed to be carrying out the instructions of the people. They're not supposed to be running around as if they don't have to give any answers to anybody. The shadow government is over. Finally, once and for all the information is out, just about enough for the people of the organization to see that you've been lying, you've been manipulating, you've been running for the longest time while keeping the people in the dark, and y'all doing all this stuff with the properties, with the money, with the bank accounts, and making other shady deals and buying up different businesses to put one another in business to create income streams that the members of the organization don't know anything about. It's time now for transparency. It's time now for the people to stand up and say enough is enough. It's time now for the people to stop backing up wrongdoing, to stop supporting wrongdoing. For all of you members who don't care, I like Mr. Cunningham, you are a part of the problem. You have been assisting these leaders to take advantage of everybody in here, including yourselves. All the numbers of families that's been ruined and broken, all of the incidents that have happened to individuals, every single thing that they have done to offend, to harm, to take, to completely eradicate people's households, the things that the scriptures speak about. Every one of you who support this type of activity, Knowing what's going on now with all of this evidence that's out, you are a part of the problem. We have scripture to show this has nothing to do with anybody sent by our Father in heaven or his Son. This has nothing to do with a man of God who's representing anything about heaven, because we've already shown you in the scripture again that the house of prayer for all people was destroyed and is sitting there, the ruins in Jerusalem today. The scripture supports what it is that we're saying. There's documents from downtown, different cities that's been filed with the government that show and prove the things that I'm saying. And we have signatures of these bishops to include Mr. Cunningham's and Mr. Bailey's to verify the things that I'm saying. And now you're seeing that the General Council has also been having their group, not individuals, group named as the General Council of the United House of Prayer for All People. We all stand in unison as we declare and proclaim that the document here before us is factual and is legitimate, and it is according to the Constitution of the House of Prayer, legit, legal. The problem is this is not a legal document because it was put together behind closed doors. And it was brought forward for the people to give their approval without knowing anything that's in it. People, there's names for these types of behaviors. And the bottom line is, as I get ready to read the comments, it's time now for us to get busy understanding the law and the procedures of the General Assembly coming forward. With that said, we have, Brother Perry, they wanted weekly accounts of tithes, quarterly accounts of convocation and love gift, but never was there a concern about membership and attendance. That part. The council wanted everything to do with the money. The bishop wanted reports on everything to do with the money, with all the local congregations where the pastors have collected money from the people to deposit into the bank accounts. Their concern was on that. And here's another thing. The council's job is not to do anything whatsoever with the bookwork or with the money. The CEO is not supposed to be doing anything with the bookwork or with the money, unless the General Assembly gives them that responsibility. That entire responsibility belongs to the General Assembly. The General Assembly is supposed to be making committees and subcommittees to handle all these things, because the General Assembly is supposed to be the board of directors. Now you can see that the bishops have been, again, treating everybody as if we're complete idiots, morons, and fools, while running circles around all of us in here, while they live these lavish lives along with Miss Dolores Madison and the handful of people around them who's assisting them in these things. Y'all notice those persons whose names y'all see on these documents, they're living fine. They're not in need. And some of the names that you don't see on these documents, like Mr. Ladisall, Mr. Commodore, y'all don't see these names, Mr. Taylor. Y'all don't see those names, Mr. Foster. How is it that he's running around putting all this money on people's names for Daddy's Club all around the organization, but it gets credited back to H Street? How is it that sometimes these men have thousands of dollars missing and it gets covered up? Nothing happens. Or it gets taken care of by other people who are closely tied to the bishops. Nothing happens. Members, it's time now for us to fix all of this. And we can move forward together with a clean slate, holding everybody accountable for the wrongdoing that they're doing, because one day we have to stand before our Father in heaven. Again, it's now time. Thank you, Brother Perry, for that. I haven't even gone into the story in regards to You know what we talked about. After the building, one of the individuals that came to do the work, and there was some stuff with the check concerning tithes. People, there's so many things we have not told you. Not yet. Um, the lives of him and her. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining the discussion this evening. Please subscribe, thumbs up, and set notifications to support the channel. Email address is we stand for right 2024 at gmail.com. Thank you so much. The lives of him and her. We appreciate you. And yes, Brother Perry, I'm sure that letter was stamped and not signed. Right. They do things intentionally to make sure that they can't get bit. It's like the last order that went out from Mr. Cunningham. I'm not going to write a letter. I'm not going to send out a letter. Y'all put the word out, and the members get busy. Here's the thing I forgot to mention. Before I forget, two things. There was a comment that was made in the last video pertaining to a situation with Mr. Leon McCullough being removed from the races or the elections or what have you. As I was rushing, I said exactly. I was rushing and I did not take into account everything that was said. Let me first issue a formal apology because I don't have details pertaining to that situation that I myself am aware of. There's other individuals that might have details about different things, but on the channel, I confirm or I say I don't know about that, and I have not yet confirmed it, whatever the information is. So there was someone that called. If you're on the line now, you know who you are. We spoke extensively that night. I've been looking forward to your call back so that we can continue our conversation. But I shared with you that I would come back and bring that up again, and I just remembered. With that in mind, the other thing is, for those of you who remember me talking about this walkathon that Mr. Cunningham just put on for individuals to register before May 1st. It was just confirmed today, it was shared with me today, that for all elders and pastors, your registration fee is $50. Your registration fee is $50, 50. For all regular members, non-elders, regular members, your registration fee is $25. And for all children, to register for the walkathon, your registration fee is $10. Now, I said before that this was a method of determining how many people are still going to do what he wants. I still believe that that has something to do with it. However, I also, of course, now believe that this is just another scam. It's just another income stream to bring in more money. Every single thing with this organization's leadership is all about coming up with creative ways how to get more money out of the people, get more money out of the people. And there's right now a handful of people who saying, oh, I'll go ahead and do that. It's nothing but blah, blah, blah. Everybody's not watching the video, so I'm not going to address that. But the confirmation is that there is a fee, $10 for children, $25 per member, $50 if you're an elder or a pastor. The lives of him and her. The combination of a bishop's spiritual office with the CEO's corporate power creates a conflict of interest. Right. We talked about this one night. Exactly. When one person controls both faith and finances, oversight vanishes. This must stop. And that's the thing. The General Assembly is the oversight committee. But if you have the General Council that's doing all these things and creating committees and setting up security leaders and all that stuff. Well, they're acting as a board. And now you all wonder, why is it that nothing ever happens to the general counsel? And no matter what they do, no matter what they do, no matter what they do, individual councilmen do all kinds of things. And no matter what they do, nothing happens. They get moved. And a lot of times when they get moved, when y'all think it's so bad, they actually got a promotion. More money for them. Ha ha, the joke's on you. And this happens all the time in the house of prayer. Again, this stuff can be fixed just like that. It'll take maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 or 5 votes. It can also be done in 1 vote. And I will share with you the language that needs to be worded. And just like that, it's over. It's over. With that said, thank you, Deliza from her, for that comment. Absolutely. Jamal says, and it's interesting, they only want cashier's checks or money orders, right? Why do they only want cashier's checks and money orders? The money is there. It's guaranteed unless it's cash. They don't have to worry about bounce checks. Golden Boy says, sounds like a president pressing the boundaries of his presidential powers, working outside the perimeters of their duties, but smart enough to normalize their illegal actions and pretend that all is well. It does sound exactly like that's a wow. That's a wow. It does sound exactly like that. A president pressing the boundaries of his presidential powers, working around the perimeters. And this has been going on again for the longest. And yet, right in front of the people's faces, right up under our noses, they're doing all kinds of things, not saying nothing. They're coming to organize nationwide. Next program, pushing people, get on the buses, get on the buses. Let's get there, let's get there. We got to raise $25,000. The bishop is on the way. Addie's on his way. Addie's on his way. Let's get these. They've been running behind y'all's back signing paperwork just as much as they've been running behind my back and doing anything and everything. And look at what the Constitution says. It says that the man has absolute right to do anything he wants without question. This has to be stopped. Let's continue. Dwayne says that's a lie. They're lying all the time. Excuse me, Golden Boy says, explain, please. What part is a lie? Golden Boy, let's have the conversation. I'm happy to bring clarity and point you in the correct direction. Most of the time, Golden Boy, when Dwayne when Dwayne says something, he's responding to something that he just heard online. And he may be at work. A lot of times he's listening while he's at work. So he'll jump in and real quick respond and get back to work and try to go back and forth. But Dwayne is 100% behind our cause. And he can't stand what's going on within the ranks of the leadership of that organization. So I'm sure he's saying that there's something that they said that's a lie. Matter of fact, thank you, Father. Tell me if I'm wrong, Dwayne, but I think that was the form that I showed with Mr. McCullough being the president on the board and Miss Dolores Madison being secretary, and Mr. McCullough being, no, she was the vice president. He was the treasurer. She was the secretary. I think when he first saw that, he said, that's a lie. He's not the president. He's a bishop. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dwayne, if you can hear me. Miss Corrine, Miss Corrine, hello, hello, hello. Golden Boy at Dwayne Wilson, you don't want to chat with someone that can swiftly spew off facts. he's at work, Golden Boy. I'm waiting to find out about this lie you speak of. This is all educational, but facts are facts. Yeah, again, he's back and forth, and you all see Golden Boy is ready to go ahead and straighten anything out that anybody has to say about the information that we're putting out. Kareen says Janine Green. Yeah, she's also a part of this, unfortunately. Her name is involved on the paperwork as an owner of Paradise Senior Living up in Washington, D.C., and being listed on the board of directors as well, along with, interestingly enough, Mr. Murray. Mr. Murray is also on the board of directors of Paradise Senior Living. Yes, Janine Green. Darlene says liars. Yes, they do lie. Like I said, I didn't know how bad the lying was until I found out as a pastor, going before the court in California, as well as Dallas. That was heartbreaking. When I found out, I looked up to Mr. Sudler. I love them dearly. It hurt me so very much when he sat there and looked me in my eyes and lied about the situation. And that's when I realized he was setting me up as well. His wife, St. Patricia, love her so much, love her to death, as do most members throughout the entire organization. Nothing but genuinely real. And believe me, trust me, everyone, she has no knowledge of, nor any involvement in these things that her husband was doing. No knowledge whatsoever. She was sharing things with me out of her excitement because we're extremely close. She was sharing things with me out of her excitement for what was going on in San Antonio. In fact, St. Missionary Sudler said San Antonio was like heaven. And she also said that she felt this Lord allowed her to come there when we had her for a week with a tarry meeting to prepare her for her works in the organization. And quite frankly, everybody that visited San Antonio from other houses of prayer said the exact same thing. We didn't tell them that. Everybody that came there said it's like heaven. That was the one word that it's like heaven. St. T had visited once. St. Sherry Mings, 3, maybe 4 times. Elder Bad testified and talked about San Antonio for 2 years straight, every single week in New York. Same thing with Jimmy McCullough came through San Antonio 2 or 3 times. Same thing. He says, pure heaven, pure heaven. So I went back to Washington telling everybody, oh my gosh. My point is this, that we have people who know what happened in San Antonio. They saw for themselves, and it bothered them to hear what took place because there was no answers for any questions. Nobody knew what happened. All they knew is Mr. Bailey saying that I ran people out. And he's saying, go back and get them. And there are no members there. And the members sitting there around, everybody in the organization at that moment almost everyone ostracized, cut off. Shame on you. You needed this, you needed that. Individuals coming to me, I'm not going to say your name. Individuals coming to me, calling me all kinds of, got the wrong spirit, scared of Satan, bells. I mean, anyway, members, a lot of times the people who y'all here talked about up front did nothing wrong. The liars are the ones sitting in the front. And you all, who they see as their brothers and sisters or friends, cause them to go home and want to do things to themselves. The members of the house of prayer have been treacherous whenever they listen to the leaders up front. And the leaders up front know what they're doing, just like Mr. Cunningham knows what he's doing whenever he tries to turn the people against people because he wants y'all to feel sorry for him. The councilman joining in, knowing good and well that they're setting people up, lying on them left and right, which is why they keep refusing to do anything to bring us in front of the people. Everybody knows. How do you catch a liar? You confront them. You bring two people together. Our law says let the accuser face the accused. Why is it that the leader of the organization is doing everything he can to keep me from coming to accuse him while he sits there in that court with these dirty, corrupt men and they're accusing everybody else? People, it's time. It's time. Golden Voice says, I saw a new TikTok video. Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention this earlier. Check out the new TikToks. I haven't seen the latest. But apparently there's one talking about Saint Annabelle Cunningham. People treat their dolls like they're one of their own, their family. And so they named Annabelle, the Raggedy Ann doll, one of the Cunningham members. Of course, they're poking fun. The jesting is to try to urge either him or her quickly and come back. Either him or her, Mrs. Cunningham, to no longer bring that doll to the house of prayer again. It is a complete embarrassment. And for him to allow that to happen, it's even more of an embarrassment, which is how it's beyond me to where he said just a few days ago that nothing in here shames him. I've been ashamed by many things in here. Many, many things. Seeing the bishops of the house of prayer ridicule people on the floor, put them down on the floor, embarrass them on the floor, humiliate them on the floor. I've been ashamed. I've been ashamed at seeing grown men go to backhand little girls that are maids. I've been ashamed the way they talk to people in front of guests of the organization, visitors, looking at this. I've been ashamed. I've been ashamed of the conduct and the behaviors openly and more so behind closed doors. I've been ashamed to even tell people that this is what I believed in. This is what I followed. This is what I thought was the Most High's representation on earth. Now, all the evidence is coming out to show that none of this and the stuff that was going on behind closed doors. There's people around the country that don't even drive around Logan Circle because of the trauma that they experienced inside that house. There's people around the country that refuse to go anywhere near Portal Drive because of the trauma that they experienced in that house. And the members have no clue because a lot of these things have simply been covered up for decades because children didn't know who to go to, especially little girls. When you are a little boy, how do you go to people and you're a boy to tell people what happened to you? So, members, we can fix or begin to fix these things just like that. All it takes is the vote, and then the work begins for us to start putting everything in line while sifting through all this other stuff, because the world is watching, the world is waiting, and the world is observing what it is that we're doing about these problems that they see as they also look at all this evidence. Golden Boy says they're definitely liars and willing to put it all on paper. And that's the thing. We have documents to show complete fraud. Fraud. You have paperwork in different locations that has different people's names on it. It's so easy to lay this case out before anybody. Darlene says people were manipulated. Absolutely, we were 100%. Golden Boy says he knew he was part of the succession plan. Talking about Mr. Cunningham. We know that he knew. There's an individual that reported 8 years before he became bishop, put himself in a seat, was trying to tell everybody, that's your next bishop. They overheard the meeting that the council was in while the information was shared with them so that they can prepare to start pushing Mr. Cunningham forward. These are things that people can testify to, and all the details line up. They don't ask questions, Darlene says. A lot of people don't, but we're in a position where we don't have to ask questions coming up. And again, don't worry about this, delegates. Don't worry about nothing whatsoever. By the time you get there, y'all going to know exactly what to do. And it's not going to take that long. So when we come, I know many of you are not going to, because you're going to tell yourselves, it's on a video. I don't need to write it down. It's on a video. No, I'm going to tell you, as we present these videos pertaining to the law and then get into Robert's Rules of Order, you will need to have a notepad and a pen to write down exactly what, even if you look at the recorded version, but write it down so that you can go over it and prepare yourselves, and even take your written notes with you. Nobody can touch your personal property. Nobody can take anything from you. And it doesn't matter, which is why I'm saying it in the open. It does not matter if Mr. Cunningham, every single general councilman, the General Assembly secretaries, it does not matter if they know what is being planned. It just allows them to understand that they need to start packing their bags. Robert's Rules of Order are clear. It's not a secret. Everybody understands anything about parliamentary procedure. They understand Robert's Rules of Order. We're the ones late to the game. So everything that I have to share, it's not a secret. It's already out in the open. And when you walk in there, just listen. Your chest should be stuck out as you now go on with this newfound wisdom and knowledge and understanding, knowing, I'm the boss up in here. I'm the boss up in here. And everybody has the same power because you all have nothing but one vote. That general counsel is illegally sitting up in the front. The general counsel has nothing whatsoever to do with the General Assembly. It's all a part of the intimidation. Therefore, we're going to guide you through all of that and tell you exactly what you have to do to be done with it. And you can probably have all of that done within the first 20 minutes of the General Assembly. But again, we're going to go over that. We're going to go over that. Corrine says, thanks, Golden Boy. Darlene says, I am a witness. I am a witness. Mr. What do you believe? People who have been victimized turn to the doctrines of the leadership for comfort, subsequently becoming a willing participant in their victimization, never suspecting a thing. And unfortunately, this is so true. Also, fortunately, the victims, for the most part, will not be in a position where they have to say anything. Even if we're dealing with victims that end up inside of the General Assembly, the easiest thing to do is to hear a vote. A motion is in order, and then a vote is put on the floor. And the easiest thing to do, and I think this is why they want all the pastors sitting beside the delegates, because even though you're going to be told over and over and over again, you don't need to be afraid of anybody. They want your pastor to look at you and kind of make you feel guilty or afraid because the pastor's there. But what's going to happen is going to be a shift. The closer and closer we get through these videos teaching about the law and parliamentary procedure, you're going to find that not only are you going to be less and less and less intimidated by or afraid of your pastor, you might find yourself getting angry with your pastor. And I'm going to need everybody to understand that no matter how upsetting this is, no matter how angry you are, no matter how angry or mad you get, breathe. Don't bother. Don't say. Don't change. You don't need to do anything except go to the General Assembly and fix it. That's all. It will be over. It will be done. And that will be that. Just like that. And at the end of that day, there will be a sigh of relief that comes over the entire organization. People will come out dancing in the streets. The whole organization, the entire organization, will be in a position to where they will, for the first time, celebrate like never before. With that in mind, let's finish up. Golden Boy, there was a vote between Madison and Leon. He says, there was a vote between Madison and Leon. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know about that. There's individuals that have shared with me that they were in different meetings. And what you all don't know as members is that the council, I read this, I think it was on, yes, it was Sunday night. I read this on Sunday night. There was a newspaper article and in the newspaper article, it showed Mr. Madison. Okay. In the newspaper article, it showed Mr. Madison. Here it is. making a comment to a reporter. And for those of you who weren't here and who didn't hear it or see that video, um, here's the article. Matter of fact, let me turn this around and I'll read it. Following also, okay, right. With the patriarch's death, Apostle S.C. Madison will lead the church through the process of electing a new bishop. Mr. Madison said yesterday there was no announcement yet on the funeral arrangements or on an election. In leading a special prayer before the congregation, he said, "The God of Daddy McCullough will give us strength, give us unity, and give us peace, that we may stand together and carry out the goals and the principles of Daddy McCullough." Mr. Madison prayed for a smooth transition and that the congregations could carry on until we have an election to elect another bishop. He then led some 30 churchmen who make up the church's general council into meetings. It was not certain yesterday, however, whether the election would be by the council or by the entire congregation. Now, my question on Sunday was, how is it that Mr. Madison didn't know whether or not the election was going to be by the council or by the members? This is because the general council does a lot of things behind closed doors. And for those of you who did not know, in Miami, as we prepare for the election of another bishop, at some point there's a meeting held where they determine and they decide whether or not the man that is either being looked upon by the people or just chosen by the people, one or the other, whether the man is the prophet. There's all kinds of meetings that they're having and doing all kinds of things, again, without the members' knowledge of it. This whole thing just needs to stop, and the members can fix it once and for all so that we can have transparency. The law even recommends 4 meetings per year. 4. The reason why we have 1 is because this leadership does not want the people coming together. So they spread them out as much as they can. And you have to have at least one meeting a year. But the recommendation is 4. And the reason why there's a recommendation of 4 general assemblies or board meetings, a recommendation of a minimum of 4, rather. The reason for that is the more often that you're getting together, the easier it is to have oversight over your organization. By having 1, it's difficult to have any oversight, and it's nearly impossible to have any if the people in the General Assembly don't even have a clue that they're the boss. And you come and serve them, which is why, again, a CEO does not go inside of a board meeting 3, 4, 5 hours late. They're supposed to be right there when the roll is called. And if they don't answer, they're late. And I said, no CEO will be that late over and over and over again to a board meeting because they will be fired. We are the only organization, not just in the nation, but on the planet, I'm almost certain, that allows the CEO of our organization to do anything he wants without question. And we look like they have a constitution that the government sees, which says that our CEO cannot be judged, questioned, or condemned by the members. He's only to be judged by the Almighty. How does that sound to people who are not members thinking about us? Anyway, yeah, the council does a lot of things. I'm sure there was conversation or votes or all kinds of things that may have been done, not just pertaining to that time period, but most others. But as I stated before, I'm not sure about a lot of the details of that time period. Golden Boy continues to say there's a news article about it, and it calls out the vote count and that there were 2 votes. Oh, wow. Yeah, see, I didn't know that, but wow. My bad, sorry. Thought we had someone trolling. He's talking about Dwayne saying liars. That's what that's about. Um, all in good fun for the viewers and for awareness, right? Yeah. Again, we don't take anything any type of way personally, and we kind of make sure that everybody understands what's being said. So it's all good, Golden Boy. But a demand to the leaders, right? We do demand that there's certain things that the leaders not only start doing, but begin to understand that we're going to be looking for going forward. Kareem says the UHOP is no different from any other place of worship that has been found with wrongdoings, and the members of the UHOP would laugh at others not saying what's right up under their own nose. Yes, I don't know how many times members of the House of Prayer look at other organizations talking about that's crazy, that's crazy, that's crazy, that's crazy. But they do it all the time. And nothing, nothing. So when it's now time for us, then where are we at? So now's the time. Coming up is the time. Golden Boy says, you're welcome. At Green. Excuse me, Golden Boy says, the devil is angry. Yes, and doesn't want you talking about victims, right? We get interruptions from time to time. He said, I skipped when I started talking about victims. Yeah. Prince of the powers of the air. This is all real. He says, I'm going to stand at the top of the steps and wave my hands. Once the change comes, the vote happens, and the delegates go inside and fix this. I'm sure some people might just drop. Some people might just sit there and disbelief, not even believe it. I have no idea what I would do. None. Because it's been so long and so much wrong and so much corruption. Golden Boy says, right, you don't know, but you're stating publicly that you're handling the process. Admission to not knowing what he was doing, then going into a private meeting with 30 men to ensure. Yes, by saying to a reporter that you're not sure whether or not the council's going to elect the next bishop or the people are going to elect the next bishop, you just pretty much confess to everybody in the organization that the council picks bishops. You're the senior minister, and you just said it's unsure whether the council is going to do it or the people. Every member in here knows that the people are supposed to be the ones that pick bishops. So my point is, members, that article just showed everybody in here that there's been funny business at all these elections. There doesn't need to be any more funny business. Everything can be transparent from now on. And the only thing that needs to happen is the people going in and doing what needs to be done, and that'll be that. Golden Boy says the succession plan was in play. Right. When he set us on shore, it's certain that he already knew. He said, I remember, that he stood in front of the mirror in the bathroom and he was looking. He said, Me? Me lead all these people? This is where my antennas went up. He said, These people not going to give me no money the way they gave Mr. McCullough money. I thought, why are you thinking about the money people may give you? Every time I saw men being pushed forward, moved forward, bumped forward by counsel or whatever, there was always this excitement over the money. Again, people, there's all kinds of paperwork to show what these bishops have done. No matter how much I loved them, no matter how much I liked them, no matter how much I served and followed them, when I saw with my wife that the bishops have manipulated these constitutions right then and there, they've been deceiving the entire organization with a smile on their face. How can you trust an individual like that with a smile to manipulate, to deceive, to steal with a smile? There's been individuals that, as I look back, I think there's maybe 3 individuals that I've lied to. And this may have been mid-90s Philadelphia, and in Washington, D.C., mid-90s, late 90s. Mid-90s in D.C., late 90s in Philly. But the people that I lied to, it was because I'd done something that I was embarrassed of and I was ashamed of. One individual, I borrowed her car and I wanted to go see someone. And I went through a toll, didn't have any money. The car got towed. I got picked up. And I had to straighten that out. So that they wouldn't understand, I simply lied about it. I felt bad, felt guilty, felt ashamed because I just didn't want them to know that there was no harm, wasn't doing anything wrong, but I did have their vehicle. We worked it out to go get the vehicle back. Another incident was using a phone, and I didn't realize that a bill was being incurred. And with the incident that had taken place, if I remember correctly, the incident that had taken place, the bill got kicked back some way, and I still don't understand now. Oh, yes, I do. I charged the bill to another phone number that I was working with some other people, and I could have paid for it through them for my check. And as I think back, I just wasn't getting a check because my work wasn't up to par yet while I was in training. Anyway, they didn't take care of it and they kicked it back. So I ended up with a bill that was somewhere around $150, something like that. And I never actually took care of that because the people I was working for, in my mind, I was done wrong. And without going into the details, it was a situation with House of Prayer members but I had been put at risk without knowing. And so when I found out all the details, I didn't get angry about it because my faith, I simply questioned without ever confronting them. So I left it alone. So I figured $100 some for a phone bill is nothing compared to I was put at risk for going out of my way to helping. Um, Eventually, I think I went on and took care of that anyway. I can't remember. Um, the other time was someone that uh, they made a videotapes, and they made videotapes for their own personal connection as they would go around to the house of prayer. Um, they would make their own collection. So one day, without asking, I had borrowed one of the videotapes to take back to my home so that we can watch the videotapes with myself, my mother. Um, but I didn't let them know. And when they asked me about it, because I was ashamed that I took it without asking, I lied and simply said I didn't take it because I knew I was going back in 2 days and no harm done, it would be there. But they called my mother and she told them, well, yeah, the tape is here. We watched it, not knowing that I had told the person, no, I didn't take the tape. Um, but those incidents became lessons for me because even though there was no harm done, and even though I knew that I was doing something to fix it or take care of it, um, it was still a lie, and it still caused the individuals to think less of me. So my point in all of that is this: as I look at these men in all these positions in the council, I used to ask myself over and over and over, how can y'all lie so much? How can you do so much harm to people and it does not affect you? It doesn't phase you. How can y'all do so much wrong that people are aware of, that they know about, and there's no guilty conscience? There's nothing. And you just keep on doing more wrong and more wrong and more wrong, more lies and more lies and more lies. We had the entire congregation of San Antonio where these men, their fear of what San Antonio was becoming, the jealousy towards me and what I was doing, moved them to such jealousy that they didn't care about the people. They didn't even know the people. And the biggest part for me is those 5 years of my life. You will not find in One Truth and Facts, any of the literature of the House of Prayer, anything that we did, but 5 years of my life, all of the toil and the sweat that myself and the young men that was with me from the military, that we poured into the people that was brought into the house of prayer. And the bishop came and he claimed everything as if it was his own. My members, my congregation, go back and get all my children. The problem is he didn't know any of them. He did nothing whatsoever to bring them. He had no clue of how much work it took to talk to, bring in. We were dealing with prostitutes whose lives completely turned around. Nobody looked at them funny. Nobody looked down on them. We respected them as well as we respected everybody else. We were dealing with drug dealers. We dealt with gangbangers. We dealt with murderers. We dealt with real, true life killers. Nobody looked at them that way. So when people talked about, well, Lewis had brothers sitting on one side, sisters sitting on another, but nobody asked me, Brother Lewis, why? We had a mixed congregation, and I didn't want people sitting side by side if they were involved in two different affiliations and all of a sudden something jump off. Because these are not the individuals that have arguments. These are the individuals that simply do things and nobody know who did it. And you got people just laying all over the place. Brothers on one side, sisters on the other, no problem, case solved. We can enjoy each other's company. And that's exactly what we did. And we built a family. The council didn't care about none of these people. The district chairman, the chairman didn't care about none of these people. The families, the people who came in, the bishop didn't care about none of these people. We became family. We took care of one another. We put clothes on people's back, food on people's table, paid for people's electricity, their utilities, fixed cars, bought equipment for people's home. We didn't ask for anything back. We didn't try to have our names put up in lights. We didn't seek recognition. We did it quietly. Nobody knew nothing whatsoever about it because we didn't broadcast it. We were simply a family, and we were growing that way, and everybody loved it. And they looked up to Mr. Bailey, and they honored and revered this council. And the council and Mr. Bailey did everything on their own to completely turn these people against every single one of them, because they watched their behavior and they watched their lies, and now they're gone. And all of this can be backed up with proof and evidence, like you saw the attendance sheet that I kept. Whereas the bishop said, there's nobody there. Nothing but lies. Members, you all need to understand, this is the group of men that you're dealing with. That's the group of men that these bishops are coming out of to become so-called holy men. These men are foul. And that's why I can look into the camera and tell Mr. Cunningham that he knows of an absolute truth that he's lying about everything. Therefore, you don't fit the bill of a bishop. And had I had my opportunity on the floor, you know very well you would have never even been nominated, because the people would have known about you manipulating the laws with Mr. Bailey. So people, now you have evidence, you have paperwork, you have documentation to show you what the general counsel's been doing behind our backs. And now, again, we can get ready to move a little bit closer to the General Assembly as we prepare and go over what we need to in the laws. He married the vice president, Golden Boy says. Conflict of interest. He should have never had a hand in picking of a new bishop. Talking about the senior minister, Mr. Madison, married the vice president, who was Miss Dolores Madison, on paper that the organization know nothing about when it comes to a board of directors. But my purpose for showing y'all that other paperwork is to show y'all that we have all these trustees all over the organization that no one knows anything about. Trustee, all over the place, everywhere. We don't know what's going on. We need to fix this. And even now, we got another bishop that's running all over the organization, doing anything and everything, and nobody knows anything. This is not okay. Delegates, prepare yourselves, because the first time that you walk inside that door, instead of you being afraid, you need to be the boss. It was a conflict of interest to have the senior minister marrying a vice president. He should have never had a hand in picking of a new bishop. Leon didn't stand a chance in court. They were so slick at ensuring they made themselves look legit. I'm not I'm not sure about this information. This is my first time hearing it. Golden Boy says in Yeshua's name, yes, absolutely. Coming up with the General Assembly. Jamal, as so does Geno Jennings, does that boys on one side, girls on the other. Um, I never paid attention to that, but yeah, now that you mention that, yeah, I recall. And what that does is keeps everybody's focus on what's going on. You don't see men, laying up with the arm around whoever. Um, it kept everything just going on. We didn't have any dead spots. Our financial service was over in 7 minutes tops. We would take 5 minutes to raise, 5 minutes, and we would take 2 minutes to round off. Round off did not mean another $50. Round off just means if we need $2 or whatever to get the next $5, that's it. We're cutting off. We're moving on. Round finances, 7 minutes or less. Everything in our service was about the word and praising, the word and praising. I have pictures where nearly the entire congregation was just praising and worshiping. Me, my assistant pastor, and the other elder, sometimes one of them would be shouting and the assistant pastor watching over him. Sometimes the assistant pastor would be praying with the other elder watching over him. And we're just looking at this whole thing while people just caught up. But it was real for them because they were getting the word. They weren't caught up because we were talking about Mr. Bailey, Mr. Bailey, Mr. Bailey. They were getting the word. And in fact, I still have the recordings from St. Patricia. That whole week, I still have those recordings. And we just had such a beautiful time. Anyway, HBCU at Joseph Lewis taking donations. No, we never asked for donations. We never solicited. We never. Other people have asked. Somebody, no, two, three, a few people told me that we should just tell people to reach out by email. And if there's something that they want to do, just let them know that route. We're not asking for anything. We never did ask for anything. We never sought anything. We put everything on our Father. And the benefit for us and the blessing is that we quite simply, this has not been costing us. We're on YouTube. And I think that's what's eating Mr. Cunningham up, because without paying a dime, we've been able to just chip away at his trunk. And now the leadership is about to fall over, and it hasn't cost us anything. That's the Father's doing without a dime, other than my wife would surprise me with a microphone and a sound system and some other things. But I think it's, she might have spent less than $200 for the equipment that we've had. And I still have it. I still love to use it, but we're doing live now, and it's on this computer. Matter of fact, I still could use it. So y'all going to start seeing me use the equipment again. But yeah, we haven't sought any money. Again, you can reach out by email if you wish. We're certainly not going to turn down anything if that's his will. But yeah, we're not asking for anything. We're in a position where we're blessed to not be in need of anything. But again, if that's what you want to do, then feel free to reach out by email and we'll go from there. Um, well, all I can say is thank you. Uh, we appreciate you all. Um, we hope that this has been enlightening. We have so much more documentation. We can't go there yet because we're still digging and so many things are still being uncovered. It's shocking us. Um, and the reason why we don't want to give details is because we don't want to expose yet to certain people what it is that we're finding, to give them the opportunity to try to go back and run for cover and change things or do anything to hide things. The thing is, they've done so much that it's extremely difficult for them to try to go and cover, because we're talking about now 100 years of all kinds of corruption. And quite frankly, a lot of the things they've done, in my opinion, they've forgotten. So um, yeah, this is where we are. You now know what council's been doing to help the bishops to file paperwork, to be a group of witnesses for the governmental bodies, to allow them to sell, buy, um, fix, build, and use property or other transactions that might be for businesses, not necessarily for the organization as a nonprofit, but sometimes as a for-profit income stream that the organization don't even know anything about. Um, and what I mean is, the Grace Aid is a complete, I told y'all, these funds, scholarship award, we have people getting $200 for tuition for college. What are you going to do with that? Scholastic Achievement Awards. The qualifications is you got to go to Sunday school. This is indoctrination class. The Grace Aid, I was informed the other day. I know before, somebody told me that Grace Aid, the elders were getting $300 a month. Grace Aid, after 40, 50 years in the ministry, $300 a month. I was told the other day that there was a minister that had retired, and I was a prayer after many, many years, and he got $15 a month for Grace Aid. $15. Eventually, it went up to $25 per month. That is his help from the United House of Prayer for All People. Eventually, it got up to $125, I think, or $150 per month from Grace Aid. What can anybody do with that? So when you're not even taking care of your ministers, I won't go into details, but I also learned there was another minister, after giving over 40 years of his life, and his spouse. The spouses in the organization, y'all have no idea how hard it is for them. And this is why I believe the Reform and Governance Committee members wrote letters to the pastors' wives, because they go without being thanked or appreciated. Some of them are involved in a lot of this nonsense, but for the most part, quite a few of them hands off. But people don't know what it's like to be a pastor's wife. You have to sit back while watching your husband go through all kinds of whatever without getting involved. You have to not get involved with the members who's getting upset with your husband, knowing that you can see things, and you can see things in the leadership as well. And they go unnoticed. But for 40 plus years, and then a sickness takes you out of the ministry, and an insurance that policy that you had from the organization as a pastor The organization removes it. Now you don't have that insurance policy. Come in the house of prayer. And never got grace aid. How can you tell me you're giving anything to Red Cross to help other people? And you're not even helping those most dedicated members of the organization who were loyal to you as a bishop all the years of their service, despite the fact, yes, it's a false doctrine, it's a false teaching. But even though that may be the case, everybody was not aware of it. And for those who were a part a little bit of your dirt, even if they were a part a lot of your dirt, the members were not aware, for the most part, of the dirt going on with the pastors. And for a pastor to serve that long and then come out and their family, their wife and their children, who suffered with that pastor for all those years, if the pastor's dirty, that's one thing. But how dirty is it from the organization to not give anything to that pastor who gave his life? And they have a family with no support coming from the organization. I got nothing to assist me in San Antonio. No help. But when the bishop came, it was his. These are my people. Everything was mine, 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 mine. Not thank you, not even appreciation to the members, not to the elders who was assisting me out there, who actually started the work. For the most part, the elders that was with me and the deacon that was out there, they're the ones that brought the starting members of the congregation to the Bible study. They were doing so much that I got a phone call. That's how it started. Not one word to them about appreciation. This organization is all about take, nothing at all about give. So when Mr. Cunningham keeps talking about thank you for your love, it's such a slap in the face of the people. Thank you for your love. When I read that you've given anything to Red Cross, so people, I want to apologize. I just saw the time. But my point is that this is so real. This is so near and dear. This is a passion to many of us because we've dealt with the hurts and the pains, and we've seen what this organization has done to families, and to completely take advantage of them and then to throw them and discard them out like a bag full of trash. Just like Mr. Cunningham said when he went to Philadelphia, any member that talks about him, even though they're telling the truth about him and wanting to bring him forward because of his violating the laws, he took advantage of the members who trust him simply because he's sitting in that chair, fully corrupt, along with this corrupt council, and have the nerve to look at the congregation and call people trash just to try to get the people to side with him and turn a deaf ear to these people who are telling the truth about him. You call them trash. Sir, the Father and all the angels have recorded every single word you said on high. You better repent for all the lies and the things you've done to mislead, deceive, and manipulate these people in this organization. And all you lying councilmen in support of these lies. And Miss Madison, you're 90 years old. Mrs. Cunningham, you need to consider this stuff. People see through it. Try to talk to him. Anyway, people, that's all I'm going to talk about tonight. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for hanging in here and listening. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your night. We hope and pray that our Father, if it's His will, wake us up, go before us throughout tomorrow, and we will see you in the next video. Have a good and wonderful evening, everybody.